O'Reilly. You've got questions? O'Reilly Auto Parts has answers. Need a pro you can trust? We've got that too. No matter what you need, our professional parts people have the training and expertise to help you do things right. Deep automotive knowledge, just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. The professional parts people. O'Reilly Auto Parts.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have a right to an attorney prior to or during any question. If you can't afford one, the court will appoint one for you. Do you understand your rights?
When the wolf is at your door, your running's over, that's for sure. He already knows all about you. Cut you down, no matter by you. Now you better walk the line. Real life, real
Warning, this episode of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast, may contain descriptions of acts of violence or that of a sexual nature and should be for people that are 18 years or older. Heed my warning, people. I do not get the facts of these cases off of the internet or from some television show. The facts I'm retelling you were presented to me by the victims of the crimes or the perpetrators who committed the crimes against the victims. My descriptions of the crime scenes, what I saw with my own two eyes. If you're going to get offended, please turn this podcast off now. Thank you. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast. And as always, I'm your host, Woody Overton. And today, we are going to be beginning Season 16 of Real Life, Real Crime. And y'all, I don't really have a rhyme or reason when I start a season or stop a season. So, it's not so many episodes or whatever. I just do it whenever I feel like it. I guess it's good to be king and, my shit, right? But I'm so thankful for each and every one of y'all. And because I've been doing this, almost 6 years now. And it's because y'all keep liking and sharing and putting up with the cases and the different things that I do over the years, right? But every season I start out, or almost every season, I started out with an Ask Me Anything episode. And I'm going to thank all the Patreon and convicts and Apple subscribers. Again, you just got another episode, bonus episode last week, and thank y'all for subscribing. It just really helps out the show, and it's amazing. You're amazing. If you can't be a patron or a convict or an Apple subscriber, I totally get it. I love you just as much. Truly, 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 lifers are the best fans in the world, okay? And thank you, everybody, for the birthday wishes and all the stuff. And Miss Gatlin, who sent me a box of all the Christmas Vacation Cousin Eddie stuff. Thank you so much. That was really sweet, sweetheart. I forgot to post a video. But ask me anything, y'all. Y'all shock me every time when you send in these questions. There's, of course, some of them are repeats. But there's a lot of really, really great questions, and I'm going to take a few minutes and read them to you. And we got a lot of big stuff coming, y'all. There's definitely TV stuff coming. Cold Case Files episode is coming. It's going to be in the beginning of the new season that they're about to release. And we have some other TV stuff coming that I can't talk about yet, but it's there. So stick with us. It's going to be an interesting season. A lot of old school cop stories. We're going to be doing some, I don't want to call them follow-ups, but closing out some stories and different things like that. So just stick with us, and love and appreciate each and every one of you, and let's roll with it. First question comes from Miss Chelsea Connors, and she says, any cases you solved involved a psychic's help? All right, Chelsea, I get this one. I've had this one before. I don't know that I've answered it directly because I had some stuff that was going on in a case, but I am not against using any type of help that I can get, whatever it takes to solve the crime. I'll tell you this, the most recent case that, well, I don't know if I should say that. Yes, I've used psychics, and there's a case that I'm actively working now, a murder case. I know it's a murder. And one of the fans and one of the lifers, and you know who you are, they are in contact with a psychic, and the psychic keeps saying, hey, check this, check that, check this, check that. And a lot of it's very, very true. I mean, like freak you out information that they have, but taking that information and trying to validate it is tough, because sometimes the information is a little bit vague. But I can tell you this, I believe in it. I absolutely believe. I have used it. I can't really go into details on it, but like on this one case, the psychic, who's from way, way not in the state of Louisiana, has circled a spot on the map, and just they didn't even have the full gist of the story about everything that happened. I'm trying not to give it away, but they sent a thing in, and the psychic actually circled an area on a map that she could not have known about, and said, this is where the body's at. It's in the water, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. And a lot of other things that she said that were spot on. Now, it's challenging as to what you can do with that information. It's not like you can go to a judge and say, hey, I got a psychic out of New York City that's sending me this information. Can I get a warrant? It doesn't work like that. But I'm going to tell you something. I've used them. No doubt about it, Chelsea. I've used them. I continue to do it. Hey, I'm open to whatever. And I believe that, people do have psychic ability. I don't care what deity you pray to. I mean, if you ever read the Bible, the gift of discernment is one of the gifts in the Bible, and I know certain people have that, right? It's a very good question. Thank you, Chelsea, and I really, really do appreciate you. So let's go to Miss Jill Lynn Lagowski, right? I hope I said it right, Jill. Jill says, why do they say the first 24 to 48 hours are the most important in a missing persons case, but then when someone contacts the PD concerning a missing person, they say we have to wait at least 24 hours? Okay, Jill, it's a good question, but I think you're off a little bit on it. What they say is the first 24 to 48 hours are the most important in a homicide investigation. Okay. Not necessarily missing persons case. Okay. But it's kind of multifaceted. The reason they do the 24-hour, and I don't like that. I don't like that rule, if you will, that most departments use, because, let me see how I can explain this. When people come in and make a missing persons report, right? And this has happened. I've talked about it several times on Real Life Real Crime. When they come in to make a missing persons report, you got to use your spidey senses, right? If they come in and make a missing report of like little Caitlin Adele, a 12-year-old that we saw her get off the school bus and she's gone and what have you, right? And Detective Ben Ballard called me and said, hey, I need your help down here on this one. Something's not right. And he was right. But a lot of times when people come into the detective's office, they'll be like, oh, my husband's missing or whatever. And, you talk to them. Do they have any kind of narcotics problem? Blah, 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 whatever. Or have you had any fights recently and what have you? And sometimes you could just tell you like, this dude's going to show up and they're on a bender or whatever. So I don't think that you don't discount anyone coming in saying their loved one's missing and wanting to file that report. I just think some of them that right away it's fucked and as you end up working a homicide. Now, it is absolutely true that the first 48 hours in a homicide case are the most important. That's for a bunch of reasons. Like that's when you first get in your evidence. It's when witness statements are freshes in their mind of the people that saw what happened. If you catch the murder or if you're interviewing the murder, that's when they're most likely to break and give you the juice, right? Because it's fresh and they're coming down from doing whatever they did. The evidence collection, video surveillance collection, it's the hottest time to get the juice, right? And the hotter it is, that first 48 hours, the more likely you are to solve it. So there's a lot that goes into that, Jill. A lot more than I'm probably thinking about right now. But on the waiting 24 hours thing, you know what? If it ever happens to your people and you believe you go in and report and they give you that stuff and you really think something's wrong, call the news media. All right. The news media, especially if it's an elected official like a sheriff, the news media comes out and hits the sheriff and they're like, hey, what are you doing about this? You better believe the sheriff's going to put some money on it. So I wouldn't necessarily just take that 24-hour notice. Now, if this person has done it, and this happened to me several times, this person has a habit of disappearing on drug benders or running off with a boyfriend because they're mad at their parents or what have you, you got to take it with a grain of salt. But there's been a lot of cases where people come in to report missing persons and you just know something stinks. And so you got to get on it. Hopefully I answered, okay? So the next one is from Jordan Jennings, and it says, Jordan says, did you imagine yourself being in this position when you were 10 years old? Well, Jordan, I'm going to let the cat out the bag and then tell people, I don't know that I've ever said this on the podcast. Pretty sure I didn't. When I was 10 years old, you know what I wanted to be? It's really going to make you laugh. I actually wanted to be a priest. And of course, that naturally that didn't come to fruition, right? But I wanted to be a priest, and then I wanted to be in the military, and then I wanted to be a cop. Now, of course, I couldn't imagine podcasts because we didn't have internet back then. Or be in a position where I would be speaking to millions of people, and being so blessed and just telling stories. Now, I could have never ever imagined that, Jordan, but I wanted to be a cop was always on my radar. A couple other things I wanted to be. I actually wanted to be an archaeologist at one point. you know what? I did want to be a reporter at one point. At one point, I want to be in advertising, meaning I want to write commercials. I know that sounds crazy. What else? Oh, I want to be a marine biologist because I love anything to do with water. But it all shakes out, and now I'm just an old cop that tells stories. Thank you, Jordan Jennings, for your question. All right. So Miss Jacqueline Coronet. Jacqueline, I'm so bad with names, sweetie. but it's C-O-R-R-Corrent. C-O-R-R-E-N-T. So Jacqueline says, are you planning any more meet and greets in South Louisiana soon? I have listened to you from the start. I'm a medical legal death investigator in Jefferson Parish, so your stories hit close to home! Exclamation. I would love to a sit down or a meet and greet to exchange stories and see if we know some of the same people in the field! Exclamation. Jacqueline, well, if you are involved in the death investigator part, I'm actually speaking. I'm giving a keynote speech on March the 1st in Covington for, I think it's the Coroners Association, the Death Investigators yearly conference or whatever they have. So I'm going to be speaking then. Meet and greets, I think I'm going to step that game up a little bit, Jacqueline. I kind of got away from it in the last year, and so I'm going to start doing that. Maybe, coming to JP somewhere. You tell me what your favorite local bar is, and we can advertise it a week ahead of time. I mean, I'm gonna get out amongst the people more, and meet my fans. Right? I love all the lifers. Lifers come up to me all the time, no matter where I am in public, and I love that. So y'all don't be afraid to come up, and I'd love to take a picture with you and talk to you about how you started listening to podcasts and everything else. But Jacqueline, email me at woody@realliferealcrime.com, and I'd love to sit down with you and pick your brain on some of your stories, right? And maybe, I don't know, we probably haven't worked anything together, but the first homicide school I ever went to was in JP, Jefferson Parish. And so, small world, and I would love to sit down and talk to you, pick your brain about some of your stories, all right? So, yeah, meet and greets, I'm about to start doing more of that. And, I'm not charging or whatever, I'm maybe a week out ahead of time. Y'all tell me where your favorite place is, your favorite bar is, and we'll go out on like a Wednesday night, and people can come over and we can hang out, shoot the shit, and take pictures or whatever. All right, thank you, Jacqueline. All right, Miss Candace. And golly, I know how to say your last name, Pusho. Middle name, or probably maiden name, Chelette. So Miss Candace says, has anyone from your episodes tried to contact you from prison once they heard or found out about the episodes with them in it? Candace, you know what? I'm not going to answer that one directly, because I'm working on something on one of them. But I'll tell you what's funny. After Courtney Coco's case and Dateline and all that, and going to number one in the world, do you know what I did have contact me from prison? I had all these dudes who had cell phones illegal inside the prison, and they sent me videos of themselves stating that they were innocent. I'm like 5 or 6 different ones from different places all over the United States. They sent me videos from inside prison to my email, or maybe it was Facebook Messenger. I don't remember. But saying they were innocent and wanted me to work their cases. As far as, there is definitely one that's reached out to me, and I can't go into the reasons on it, Candace, because there's some stuff that's being adjudicated. But great question, and I appreciate it. I know that, a lot of people have reached out to me about episodes that I've done, but mostly it's because their family members were involved or something like that. So, all right, moving on. Miss Amber Sibley Macklin. Miss Amber, thank you for sending in your question. She says, what do you want to do if and when you retire? And that's just love, because I am retired, right? Supposed to be. And to me, when you say the word retire, it just means you work harder than you ever have. Although
Hey, man, I spend so many hours doing this every day between the social media and the shows and everything else. I don't really consider it work. I just consider it a real blessing. But if I could walk away right now, I would have a house in Belize on an island, or maybe Roatan, somewhere in the Caribbean where I could walk out and I could go scuba diving every day, or at least snorkeling. That's what I would do. And I would drink up cold beers when I'd come in and cook good, fresh seafood or whatever. And I'd like to sit around and cook and drink and go scuba diving. And of course, hunting when hunting season comes, and watch my kids grow old, right? I'm sure at some point grandbabies are going to be in the picture. Really, really good question there, Amber. And maybe, Amber, I'd like to think that I'm going to be retired within the next 6 years. So we'll see how it works out. Thank you for your question, sweetie. All right. So let's see. Next we have, Amber, another question for Amber Sibley Macklin. What is the status of the Swim podcast? And y'all, if you don't know about it, I've been talking about starting this new podcast called Someone Swim. It's an acronym for Someone Who Isn't Me. Let me tell you what, Amber, I'm about to lay that bitch down, and it's going to start. Unfortunately, the thing that I hate about podcasts, I love podcasts. And the thing I hate about it is the business side, man. Man, if I could just get behind the microphone and tell my shit, then, and just do this. Like, it's 5:30 in the morning right now, and I'm doing this, and I love it. The business side is what, golly, I don't want to get into it. I'm about to start doing it regardless, and I'm going to let the chips fall where they may. After I said I was going to do it, then it comes out pretty much that maybe legally that I couldn't do it. Well, guess what? I'm just going to do it anyway. It's going to be totally separate from Real Life, Real Crime. It's going to be really, really, really a lot of adult funny stuff, but it's going to be about Swim's life. And let me tell you what, Swim's life, if you think the dude can tell a story now, yeah. And some of it might have some crime stuff in it, but most of it's just going to be stories about the crazy ass life that he lived or has lived. And it'll be under society and culture. I'm looking at probably by the end of February, trying to get the first episode out. It's going to be on a total separate RSS feed. And that's what RSS feed is, like the channel, like Real Life, Real Crime, and Real Life, Real Crime Daily are on the same RSS feed. Like, and Bloody Angola is on a separate RSS feed. And that's wherever you're carried from. And it's broadcast out, to everywhere in the world. But Swim is coming, and I'm gonna tell you the origin of it. When we get to sit around having a few beers with the boys, and the old bullshit stories start coming out, or people are like, "Oh yeah, you remember the time you did this and that?" And so Swim is going to be like a 3 beer minimum for. I'm going to tell the stories, but it's Swim, Someone Who Isn't Me. Get it? And plausible deniability, and it's going to be different than Real Life, Real Crime. It's going to be more lighthearted, and probably a lot of it's going to be offensive to a lot of people, but I don't care. It's just going to be fun. 3 beer minimum, meaning I have to have at least 3 beers before I start to record it. It's going to be, you're going to love it or you're really going to hate it, but it's coming. And I've got the artwork done, or Jim Chapman has the artwork done and everything else, and it's ready to rock and roll. It's just a matter of the business side of shit that I had to get through, right? But so being tied, having your hands tied in one way, and then those things don't come to fruition, then you know what? I got to eat. So swim will be coming soon. Okay. So let's move along. And Michelle, well, you know what? Let me go to Ruthie Cox Dory first. Ruthie, you know I love you. You're an OG lifer. Ruthie put in a couple. And you know what? I'm going to cover them all. Ruthie says, what's the funniest joke you know? Ruthie, I don't know any funny jokes. I mean, I tell some like during the stories or whatever. Like one of my favorites is the old detective, all the detectives sitting around and they were drinking their afternoon coffee, the older detectives. And the one said, you know, I've been married for 52 years or however long it was. And he said his wife's name. He said, still use Vaseline for sex. And my partner at the time told me, he said, Mr., and I'm not going to give his name. I said, hey, Mr., he said, you telling me you got all them kids and they're all grown now and you've been married 50 some years and it's still so, this is going to be crude, y'all. It's still so tight that you got to use Vaseline to have sex. And he said, he looked at me and said, fuck no, son. He said, I put Vaseline on the outside of the doorknob so the grandkids can't walk in. Anyway, it's probably not the funniest I know, Ruthie, but I always like that one. Michelle Wright Martin, and longtime OG lifer, love you very much. She says, any updates on Barbara Blount's case? Well, let's talk about that. And I need to mention it more on the podcast episodes. Besides this idiot, whatever his name is, Bayou Justice or whatever, he got on, he did some kind of video and he talked about me and said that I went with Sheriff R to these people's home and basically disavowed or whatever their statement about on the day that Miss Barbara went missing. First of all, he's an idiot. I've never been to anywhere with Sheriff Jason Ard on this case to anyone's home, especially not that couple from Alabama who were originally from Holden. As a matter of fact, I was the one that found in the case file when after Sheriff Ard brought me on, I found their statement in there. So he's an idiot, and just wants the attention. But Miss Barbara's case, there's what you know, and then there's what you can prove beyond a reasonable doubt. And now, proven beyond a reasonable doubt will get you an arrest, right? But probable cause will get you arrest. And proven beyond a reasonable doubt is what you got to take to trial. And it's
Spark something uncommon this holiday with just the right gift from Uncommon Goods. The busy holiday season is here, and Uncommon Goods makes it less stressful with incredible hand-picked gifts for everyone on your list, all in one spot. Gifts to spark joy, wonder, delight, and that's exactly what I wanted feeling. Hey, y'all, I ordered a super cool piece. It's a candle with a sculpture of LSU's Tiger Stadium on top of it. And each officially licensed laser cut wooden replica features up to 4 layers of detail, creating a bird's eye view of a specific football field, seating section, and more. And every label includes your stadium's name, the team's logo, and school location. And it has a coconut, soy, vegan wax infused with sandalwood smell that creates tailgates and touchdowns scent profile, reminiscent of game day. It's invigorating like fresh cut grass and nostalgic like smoke from a pre-game grill, and calming like the crisp autumn air of a new semester on campus. Y'all, I love it. I have it at the base of my TV, and I'm ready to watch the Tigers play on Saturday night, right? Uncommon Goods. Look, when you shop at Uncommon Goods, you're supporting artists and small independent businesses. And many of their handcrafted products are made in small batches. So shop now before they sell out this holiday season. Uncommon Goods looks for products that are high quality, unique, and often handmade or made in the U.S. They have the most meaningful out of the ordinary gifts anywhere. They even have gifts you can personalize. From holiday hosts and hostess gifts to the coolest finds for kids, to hits for everyone from the book lovers to diehard sports fans. Uncommon Goods has something for everyone, not the same old selections you can just find anywhere. And with every purchase you make at Uncommon Goods, they give $1 to a nonprofit partner of your choice. They've donated more than $3 million to date. So to get 15% off your next gift, go to uncommongoods.com/RLRC. That's uncommongoods.com/RLRC for 15% off. Don't miss out on this limited time offer. Uncommon Goods, we're all out of the ordinary. Hey ladies, are you feeling overwhelmed by hormonal changes? Well, you're definitely not alone. There are more than 1,000 hormone disruptors living in our environment right now. It's in your food, your water, the air you breathe, the clothes you wear, your skincare products. They all mess with your hormones. Then there's the natural hormone changes your body goes through, premenopause, menopause. And while it's a natural process, it doesn't mean you have to suffer through it. The good news is you don't have to suffer through it anymore, because now you have Hormone Harmony, a formula made only with herbal ingredients that are shown to reduce hormonal symptoms in women of all ages. Hormone Harmony is not just a hormone supporting supplement. It's become a phenomenon. Women can't stop talking about it on social media. A bottle of Hormone Harmony is sold every 24 seconds. And the biggest benefit? Well, my wife says it makes her feel like her own self again. And that's what women mention over and over in the reviews. And there are over 30,000 reviews for Hormone Harmony. And for a limited time, you can get 15% off your entire first order at happymammoth.com. Just use code RLRC at checkout. That's happymammoth.com and use code RLRC for 15% off today. That's happymammoth.com and use code RLRC.
Going to go to trial. And I can't tell you what it is that I know, but I can beg y'all to please keep calling in your tips, because they know who did it, meaning the killers know who did it to Miss Barbara. And I have the knowledge that I have, but having the knowledge and needing that one little piece of something extra to bring it home, man, it's hard. It's hard. But you better believe those guys are working on it, and I've never given up on it. Look, we've done stuff even recently, like going digging and stuff like that, off of tips that lifers have sent in. And every one of them is passed on to the sheriff's office unless they ask me not to do it. And it is when we got a hold of it, it was frozen ice cold. Let's just say it's not frozen ice cold, but somebody knows Miss Barbara's body did not get moved and hidden by one person. I'll tell you that much. And if more than one person is involved, you always have the chance of getting the juice. All right. So y'all keep sending your tips. It's a horrible, horrible case. I hate it. I hate it for that family. We found out so much stuff we just can't share because we want to tip the hand. But I still believe in my heart that y'all are going to call in or get in touch with me and give me the one piece of information. And somebody knows, and you're listening to me. The killers are listening to me. You better believe they listen to every show just to see if they hear Miss Barbara's name brought up. Again, call in your tips, people. All right. But knowing and being able to prove, murder never goes away. I mean, the charge for murder doesn't get prescribed, meaning they can be 80 years old and catch the charge. And I believe in justice, and I believe in y'all, and I know that someone knows, and I'm praying that it's coming. So that's the update. But we never stopped on Miss Barbara. So, all right. Ruthie again. Ruthie's got a couple funny ones. Like she said, what would you do if you could be invisible for one day? I don't know. I don't know, say anything and get myself in trouble. Ruthie, I'm going to table that one for next time, sweetie. And she said, what is the most useless or silly superpower that you possess? You know what? I'm going to save those two, Ruthie. I might do a funny one on the next one because I'm reading them and I don't want to say anything that's... You get me in trouble, girl. All right. I'm going to do one more from Ruthie. Ruthie says, what law would you introduce if you had the power to make one? I'll tell you what I would do, Ruthie. If I had the power to make one, I would introduce the law that if you are convicted and let's say through DNA, something concrete, I fuck the appeals process. If you're convicted and it's concrete, like DNA, it's, less than 1 in 100 trillion chance that somebody else did it. I think the law should be an eye for an eye. I think they ought to immediately take you outside the courtroom, make it a public execution. But I think the law should be whatever you did to your victims gets done to you. So if you cut out your victim's eyes and rape them and slit their throat, I think they should do that in front of the whole world and televise it and put it on the internet and everything. But it's got to be swift and certain. I'm talking about it's concrete cases, not ones, there's a lot of innocent people get convicted. I get that. I'm talking about something like they got your ass on video or the DNA, blah, 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 whatever. It's just a dead, lock, solid case. My law would be swift and certain. Just as soon as they come down with that guilty verdict, that have the platform in the town square and do it exactly like they gave it to their victims. No mercy. And that would be my law. And so then that's why when people ask me to run for public office, I'm like, you don't want me to run for public office. At least the bad people don't. Let's see. Let's go to the land down under. Stephen Johnson says, good day, mate. And then he literally spelled it like that, Gday, mate. I'm from Australia and would like to know if you have followed any Australian unsolved crimes and what would be the one Australian case you would have wanted to be involved in solving. And, I had to look this one up because I'd heard of lots of different ones and seen different documentaries and stuff on different ones. The Wanda Beach murders from January of 65, which is 5 years before I was born, y'all. And 2 teenage girls were murdered, and they interviewed over 16,000 people and had over 5,000 suspects. And there's actually a documentary on it, and it's really just crazy. If you get to watch that, go watch it. I mean, I would like to work on any of Australia's cold cases, right? And let me tell you that most people don't know. When I started Real Life, Real Crime, what's his name? Is True Crime Island, and Cam, I think his name is. He actually gave me my first cross promo, and he's an Australian podcaster, true crime podcaster. And we have lots of great lifers that are from Australia, and they got a lot of I got a lot of good crime. I hate to say good crimes, but a lot of really, really good stories, and some of the. There's another one with 3 little girls that got married, murdered. I can't remember the name of it right now that I saw also. But any case, I just like cold cases, y'all. And if I have the time to work them, to sit down and go through and dig through, not to play armchair quarterback or throw shade on people, but have the knowledge I have now and be able to come in with a clear third eye, if you will, and not be biased one way or another, and get into those cases. So, great question, Cyrus. Stephen Johnson. So I appreciate you. All right. So let's go to L.A. Cyrus. It says, do you have a favorite case that you worked during your career and or favorite that you were involved with as an expert witness? L.A., I don't know. I think each one of them are my favorites when actually cold cases, right? Like Corny Cocos and Mary Pouchot's. That's one since I've been a podcaster. Screwdriver Red and Janet Benoit's cold case. God, I think that one was like 30 something years old at the time. David and Christina Constance, they weren't murderers. Damn, the dude got away with raping kids for 40 years. And that's the first story I ever told on Real Life, Real Crime. And the fact that the powers that be didn't, because all these victims were so poor. And look, I had over 40 something victims, and they told me, don't say anything about aggravated rape and the grand jury and all that. And I went in there. I didn't care if I got fired. And then because they couldn't stop me once I started telling the story. And I said aggravated rape. And they ended up coming back, calling a halt to the grand jury and coming back and say, okay, we're going for 4 aggravated rapes. And it took them longer to pick the jury foreman than it did to come back and give that fucker 4 life sentences. So there's, I don't know that I'm more proud of one of them than the other. I mean, because I'm just as proud of David Constance or Double Clutch being sitting in Angola as I am as Screwdriver Red. As I don't know. I'm really, really proud of all of them, actually. I mean, especially the cold case. The guys and girls, if you will, that got away with it for all those years, those are the ones I'm most proud of, that nobody else could catch. And whether it's as a podcaster or in my career in law enforcement, it was one or the other, obviously. But being able to get these people that nobody else could get, that meant more to me probably than anything, to be honest with you. It still does. I don't know. That question kind of messed my head up. It's a good question. But it's like having children. You love all of them, and they're just all different. So thank you for the question, L.A. Cyrus. So let's go to William Michael. This is a good question, William. It says, I have a good friend who is uniform patrol here. He pulled over a guy who provided an ID and then fled. They just let him go because they had his address. The question is, would you have chased? And afterwards, how do you approach the house to arrest? Is this considered a high-risk arrest? Great question, Michael. Pulled over a guy, provided ID, and then fled. Well, I probably would have given I don't know what the fuck their policy is, but if I pull you over and you give me your ID and then you decide to haul ass because your sugar's turning to shit and I'm about to search your car or whatever it may be, I'm chasing you. And I'm not going to kill somebody over it. But what if it's a fake ID? What if he gave you a fake ID? Fuck that. You gonna run from me? We're gonna dance, right? And I'm gonna give pursuit. I mean, I'm not gonna do it to the point where people are gonna get killed and shit, but I'm gonna give pursuit. But let's say I didn't. Let's say that they let him go because they had his address. I don't know if I can get that, but so I would have chased. And if I had to approach the house for arrest, and if I had to go. He probably ran because he had warrants or he had dope in the car or something like that. But let's say he had warrants and I could definitely validate this dude. Maybe I arrested him before something. You better believe I'm going to the house at 4:00 in the morning with my SWAT team buddies. I'm going to get a no-knock warrant and we're going to throw flashbangs in the window and I'm going to blow the rest of the windows out of your house. And we're going to you're going to get got. How about that, right? That's how I would approach it. High risk, it all goes into the criminal history because you're going to research and you have to do that before you get a warrant. And you're going to ask the old timers, you ask around and say, hey, uniform patrol guys, anybody y'all know this dude? Like if somebody arrests him or he's fought before or known to be armed, you have to approach that different one. Good question, though, bro. Thank you. I appreciate it. Let's go to Rick Bolden. He says, hey, and I can do that because I know where he's from. Hey, Woody, I'm from and live in southern Wisconsin and have family in Tomah. Y'all, Tomah's where Shane and Tracy lives, where I go hide out at. I love Wisconsin, by the way. Anyway, he says, would you ever consider doing a live show in Tomah? That would be awesome. I'll tell you what, Rick, that's some of the coolest people in the world in Tomah. And I mean, they're like family to me, but next time I go up, which would be in a couple of weeks for turkey season, when I go up again, I'm going to let you know if you want to come up to Tomah and we go drink a beer at the 400 Club or at the Tap House or something like that. I don't have to do a live show, brother, to sit around and drink a beer with you and tell stories. When I drink beer, I'm telling stories regardless. So just ask anybody that drinks with me. But I appreciate you. And, hey, message me where you're at in Wisconsin, Woody at realliferealcrime.com. And I'll tell you, I think I got the 3rd and 4th turkey season or something like that. We could, anyway, I'm coming up soon. Appreciate you, Rick, and love my people in Wisconsin. All right, let's go to Ashley Nicole Stoneburner. It says, hi, Woody. Love the show, and I'm a long-time listener. I would love to know if you've ever had any unexplained experiences or anything spooky happen while you were on calls. Thanks. Ashley, I get this one every time I do the AMA. Yes, I have, but I've got to tell it, and you reminded me to do it again. I got to tell it on an episode, a full length, if not 2-part series of Real Life Real Crime, the original. And let me tell you this, I believe in the paranormal. All right, it's just, the Catholic Church believes in possessions and different things like that. And if they do it, I'm not saying because I'm not Catholic anymore, but if they validate it through all their scientists and everything else, yeah, I've seen shit and I've had shit happen. And if I told you, you wouldn't believe me. But I'm gonna put it on an episode, sweetie, and I appreciate that a lot, right? So, all right, let's go to Mary Marcantel Ballard, another OG lifer. She says, is there any chance for you to be a part of a task force that will allow your investigative skills to continue so when you work a cold case, you don't have to turn evidence over to someone else when you get the bad guy or girl? Great question. And I'm going to tell you this. There's something coming television-wise. Let's just say it's in the work. Hypothetically, it's in the works where, I don't know how much is supposed to give away. So with swim, we get to do exactly that. Okay. And I will let y'all know as soon as I know, But wouldn't it be great? Wouldn't it be great if I got to go out and do that and just sit in on these task force and hopefully get to bring some justice for some of these families? That would be amazing. And Mary also like working with Sheriff Jason Ard and the Livingston Parish Sheriff's Office and Miss Barber's case and stuff. So I have helped. And if somebody calls me and asks me for the help, especially a law enforcement agency, I'm going to try to do anything that I can for them. So, good question. And y'all, I think I'm going to end it with Miss Ruth Ann, my sister. Ruth Ann Palmer, another OG lifer, been to every show and everything else. And look, I get this question almost every day through one social media channel or another. So I want to address this. And it says, what's going on with Scorched Justice? I'm still waiting to hear your take on Darley's case. Ruth Ann, Scorched Justice Season 1, total hit, right? I was with iHeartRadio and Cloud 10. And they, unfortunately, it's the business side of things again. It was unlike Real Life Real Crime. I mean, Real Life Real Crime is highly produced, but I don't have the background music and all that sound effects and shit that, you know, the other big shows have. Scorched Justice, we did that. And total success. I mean, we charted. We were in the top 100 and everything else on Jessica Chambers' case and Ming Xiao's case. Now, we had season 2, and yes, it was going to be Darley Routier's case in called Death Row Mom, Scorched Justice Season 2. And then guess what happened? Business, the part that I hate, came around. I had recorded 5 episodes, and they had, to their credit, they had paid for the artwork and the 5 episodes to be produced and everything like that. And then guess what happened? The commercial market dried up, meaning the advertisers dried up. They were pulling purse strings or tightening them up for whatever reason. So they kept delaying it. And we had a launch date for such and such, and it would have been done on that date. But when they didn't have the right amount of money to make it profitable for them, they were like, oh, we got to push it back. So they pushed it back again. And guess what happened? Then did it again. The national advertising is there. We're going to wait and do it. And I'm like, I keep giving these release dates and you keep pulling it back. And finally I said, fuck it. I'm not doing it. And I walked away. No, not throwing shade on Cloud 10 Media at all. I love them to death, Sim Sarna and them, and Saba. But the fact of the matter is, by the time the, third or fourth delay came, I was like, I broke away from anything I heart. But I've been inside Darley's house. We've been in contact with her on death row and her family members. Look, I'm going to do it. I just can't do it under Scorched Justice because the business side, they own half of everything that has to do with that. And now I'm going to do it under something else. So, but that's it. That's on Scorched Justice. Now, maybe it's not saying that I won't go back one day and do something separate. I mean, now I think Cloud 10 and iHeartRadio have parted ways. And then I won't go back and do something with Cloud 10. Maybe I'll do that. I don't know. But it's the business side of things that fucks up with this great gig I got going. But anyway, that's it. That case, Darley's case, holy shit, man. I think I have an angle on it that no one else has. And you're right. I need to do it before they kill her, before they execute her. So, but I love and appreciate each and every one of y'all. If I didn't get you a question this time, I will get to it on the next Ask Me Anything. And y'all, we got all these seasons in and all these years in Real Life Real Crime. and going back to telling some old cop stories, but also going to do some things on things that I feel that are important. So just stay tuned. But I love and appreciate each and every one of you. And thank you again, patrons, convicts, and y'all. That's our subscribers. And they get commercial-free early releases, and they get all the bonus episodes, which I think is in the mid-20s now, bonus episodes locked up. Different tier levels get different things like gifts and stuff like that. But Patreon convicts, Apple subscribers, thank you for your support. Lifers, all lifers, I love and appreciate each and every one of you. If you've got a place that you want to do a meet and greet at, and email me, woody@realliferealcrime.com. Also, you know what? Speaking of the business side of things, we used to promote in the beginning, businesses that would contact us and would use their product, et cetera, and if we believed in it and they wanted to advertise with us, we would do that. And you know what? This is Real Life, Real Crime, not Real Life, Real Crime Daily, Real Life, Real Crime. And I think we should be able to use this platform to continue to do that. We had some of the best people in the world, and them advertising on the show was a huge blessing for them. Financially, right, and recognized wise, because lifers bought the products or used the products or whatever. So I think you're going to see more of that. If y'all want to advertise with us, email me at woody@realliferealcrime.com, and I will put you in with the powers that be. And you would believe, there's all kinds of different ways you can do it. Over 150-some thousand people just on social media alone, and we have our own app, and of course commercials on the show here itself. I'm not talking about Real Life, Real Crime Daily. I'm talking about Real Life, Real Crime. And if I believe in you, let me help you and help your business grow. So reach out about that. So we'll conclude today's episode. Love all lifers. Thank you so much. And straight up letting this one out of the bag again. Cold Case Files. The new season is coming up. I'm featured in a 1 hour special. I'm not going to tell you any more about it yet. It's been recorded, y'all, for like 4 months. And, so you look out for that. LOPA, Louisiana Organ Procurement Agency. That's my jam, people. They save lives every day. And if you are a lifer from Budapest and you want to become an organ donor, go to lopa.org. Take 2 minutes, fill out the questionnaire. You don't have to be from the state of Louisiana. Sign up, people. Be a hero. They save lives every day. All right. And I'm Woody Overton, your host of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast. Until next time or ever, don't let me catch you down on Murder by You. Peace.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have a right to an attorney prior to and during any question. If you can't afford one, the court will appoint one for you. Do you understand your rights?
When the wolf is at your door, you're running over, that's for sure. He already knows all about you. Cut you down, no murder by you. Now you better
Build up to Black Friday with savings all month long at Lowe's. Get up to 50% off select major appliances, plus take an additional 10% off when you buy select major appliances. And don't wait to pick up holiday inflatables under $20. Don't wait to save, in-store or online now, because Lowe's knows deals. Valid 11/6 through 12/4. Cannot be combined with additional discounts. See Lowe's.com for details and qualifying items while supplies last.